Very few franchises possess the ability to warm your hearts quite like the galaxy far, far away. Sure, there's a ton of heartbreak to be experienced along the way as well, with chosen ones falling, beloved Jedi Masters perishing, and empires rising. However, Star Wars still always finds a way to leave you with a big ol' smile on your face with its captivating characters, rousing set pieces, moving themes, we love you John Williams, and more. This iconic universe is arguably just as wholesome behind and away from the movie and TV cameras at times too. So I'm Gareth, you're watching What Culture Star Wars, and here are 10 wholesome behind-the-scenes Star Wars moments. This is where the nice stuff begins. Number 10. Mark Hamill surprises massive Star Wars fan Adam Scott. For entire generations, Mark Hamill is a damn hero. The super talented star brought the legendary Luke Skywalker to life throughout the original trilogy, before eventually returning to the role in the sequels. Meaning that both adults and children all over the world today tend to melt whenever he walks into a room. And that was the wholesome experience none other than Adam Scott went through on Jimmy Kimmel Live back in 2017. Appearing on the show on May the 4th, Star Wars Day of all days, the Severance actor talked about being a massive Star Wars fan. He even wrote Hamill a letter and invited him to his second birthday party around the time Episode 5 The Empire Strikes Back was heading into theaters. Hamill sadly couldn't attend, but he was able to make up for that no-show. Midway through Scott's story, the epic Star Wars main theme blasted through the speakers, and a stunned Scott could not contain his shock and excitement when it was revealed that Hamill was in the studio too. Watching a grown man and one of the most successful actors working today suddenly become a starstruck kid was incredibly heartwarming. And if seeing his idol and having his dreams come true wasn't enough, he was also gifted a lightsaber and has since become pals with Hamill. What a life. Number 9. John Boyega reacts to seeing himself in the Force Awakens trailer. John Boyega's time in the galaxy far, far away may not have gone the way many would have liked, but that will never change the fact that it started out in the most delightful way imaginable. One could only imagine the feeling of being cast as one of the central characters in a Star Wars movie. It must have been surreal turning up to set each day and walking around the Millennium Falcon with Han Solo and Chewbacca. Like what? The whole experience probably felt like a dream for Boyega, but that dream likely felt a little bit more real when the Brit finally got to watch the first trailer for Episode 7 The Force Awakens. As the entire planet stopped what they were doing and glued their eyes to a screen, Boyega was captured doing the same thing at home and understandably losing his damn mind. There he was, speaking Finn's words and holding the Skywalker family lightsaber, with that latter shot being enough to send the actor flying over his own couch. It's the sort of overwhelming and unbelievable moment that would leave any long-time Star Wars lover exploding with joy. And watching a giddy Boyega do precisely that will always induce a smile. I would absolutely lose my cool if I saw myself on screen holding a lightsaber. And while on the subject of Star Wars trailers, I want to know right now, what do you think is the greatest Star Wars trailer of all time? It could be from a movie, a TV show, a game, whatever it is, let me know in the comments down below. Number 8. A precious father and son moment made possible by The Mandalorian. Families all over our world have bonded over Star Wars. For many, they're some of the first movies they remember sitting down watching with a parent, a grandparent, or sibling. And the galaxy far, far away will forever hold a special place in their hearts for that reason. Omid Abtahi and his son are 2 more folks you can add to that list of families bonding over this wonderful franchise, with the Mandalorian actor revealing one of the most wholesome Star Wars stories back in 2023. Abtahi plays Dr. Penn Pershing, of course. And during the filming of Season 3 of The Mandalorian, he was able to bring his son to work to be an extra on Coruscant. Best dad ever, quite possibly. It must have been quite the day for Abtahi's boy, and once the pair got home that night, the actor shared a moment with his lad that he will never forget. As he'd reveal on X, his son told him, "Coruscant is real, I've been there," after Abtahi kissed him on the head and turned off the light for him to go to sleep. With a tear in his eye, the actor replied, "Yes, you have, baby." Oh, no, you're crying. This is what Star Wars is all about, folks. Number 7. Hayden Christensen and Kelly Marie Tran get some love during Star Wars Celebration. Becoming a part of the galaxy far, far away should be a life-changing experience for the better. However, while some actors certainly felt the love after appearing as various Jedi, Sith, rebels, members of the Empire, and alien life forms, others had to endure some horrific abuse online and were targeted by the media for their work in the franchise, like the aforementioned John Boyega. Hayden Christensen and Kelly Marie Tran are two other Star Wars actors who were blasted and attacked by some sections of the audience and critics for a while there, and you wouldn't have blamed them for turning their backs on this franchise forever. However, over the years, fans have made it their mission to remind both Christensen and Tran that they are still truly loved and welcome in this galaxy, with both actors receiving lovely reactions at various Star Wars celebration events. Tran was visibly emotional after hearing the roar of support she was given at the 2019 event, following on from the racist and sexist abuse she'd received after being cast as Rose in Episode 8 The Last Jedi. And Christensen similarly struggled to fight back the tears when he saw the passionate crowd at the 2023 event, after being criticized for his prequel trilogy performances as Anakin Skywalker for years. Seeing two brilliant and important parts of the Star Wars world finally getting the love and appreciation they deserved away from a Star Wars set was extremely moving. Number 6. Diego Luna loves Jaba the Hut. Everyone has their favorite Star Wars characters, right? One character who doesn't typically find themselves near the top of those lists, though, is the giant gangster slug once seen lounging around on Tatooine. However, there is one person out there who simply cannot get enough of Jaba the Hut. And he also happens to play a character who was knocking around the galaxy far, far away at the same time the slimy criminal was. If you're in need of a quick injection of joy in your day, then just look at the way the great Diego Luna talks about his precious Jabba. In various interviews, the Cassian Andor actor has surprisingly gushed over the massive hut and has made no secret of his desire to, touch the gross skin of the infamous alien. Whatever floats your boat, Diego. Well, when given the choice between French kissing the big guy or punching an Ewok in the face, Luna happily went for the former, refusing to hide his love for this amazing character. Those were his words. Some may find it a touch weird, sure, but there's also something undeniably sweet and endearing about the way Luna talks about one of the most disgusting and villainous characters in the galaxy. As of 2025, we're still yet to see Andor and Jabba cross paths on screen, and it actually seems like the actor himself has given up on ever getting to meet his favorite. But who knows, maybe Andor Season 2 will finally give us that long-awaited interaction and make Luna's real-life Jabba dreams come true. Make it happen, Disney. If you're having fun looking at these heartwarming behind-the-scenes, backstage, or just away from the movie and TV cameras Star Wars moments, then hit that subscribe button down below for even more What Culture Star Wars videos. Number 5. Fans celebrate Ahmed Best's Star Wars return. As this list has already noted, way too many brilliant actors have seen their Star Wars dreams turn into nightmares due to the way critics and some parts of the audience reacted to their performances or presence in the galaxy far, far away. Before those aforementioned stars all experienced unacceptable levels of abuse and criticism, though, Ahmed Best was the first person to really go through horrendous waves of fan and critical backlash for his work in the franchise. Best debuted in Episode 1 The Phantom Menace, of course, helping bring the groundbreaking, fully CGI supporting character of Jar Jar Binks to life. However, the negative reception to Binks and abuse sent Best's way ultimately led to the actor considering taking his own life. But then something rather wholesome finally happened. 24 years after Best's first Star Wars appearance, the actor surprisingly returned to the franchise in The Mandalorian TV show, being revealed as the Jedi Master, Kelleran Beck, who saved Grogu during Order 66. Now, Best had also appeared as Beck in the Star Wars Jedi Temple Challenge children's game show, but this was his big comeback. And the reaction to his lightsaber-wielding Star Wars return online was positive to say the least, with fans going out of their way to let Best know just how loved he was and happy they were to see him back in this galaxy. It took way too long, but it finally feels like Best is getting the flowers he's always deserved for being such an important part of both the Star Wars universe and the game-changing motion capture technology being constantly used today. You love to see it. Number 4. Hayden Christensen thanks Matt Lanter for keeping Star Wars alive. Though Hayden Christensen's is unquestionably the face that springs to mind when the name Anakin Skywalker pops up in your average Star Wars conversation, the character has also been brilliantly played by the great Matt Lanter. In the likes of Star Wars The Clone Wars, Rebels, Tales of the Jedi, various LEGO projects, and even in video games, Lanter has voiced the eventual Darth Vader, and his terrific work in those animated shows and games definitely added interesting new layers to the Skywalker character. Both Lanter and the rest of the ridiculously talented voice actors heard in those projects also kept the franchise going back when movies and live-action shows weren't showing up on screens every year. This is something that Christensen was quick to remind his fellow Anakin when they finally met for the very first time. According to the Dark Side Collection book, "Thanks for keeping Star Wars alive" were the words the live-action Annie said to his animated counterpart when they finally met. And if that doesn't bring a tear to your eye, well, nothing will. Christensen has been vocal about watching The Clone Wars to prepare for his return in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and clearly felt that Lanter's voice work as Skywalker helped keep the Star Wars flame burning in a fantastic way. Number 3, the wonderful way Ewan McGregor got performance out of a child actor. There's a moment there in Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, where Obi-Wan Kenobi ends up interacting with none other than legendary bounty hunter Boba Fett. Well, he's not quite a sharp-shooting, Beskar-wearing badass just yet, but the young lad who would become that icon was there on Camino with his dad Django during this prequel movie. While shooting the moment when Obi-Wan and Boba first meet, George Lucas actually found it rather tough to get the performance he wanted out of a young Daniel Logan. Lucas wanted the lad to be suspicious of the Jedi, but Logan was struggling to pull the right face. It happens. Then, in one of the most hilarious and sweet instances of an experienced actor helping out a scene partner you'll ever hear, Ewan McGregor told Logan to imagine that Kenobi had just let one rip as the door opened to reveal him standing there. McGregor would explain on the Graham Norton show that not only did his strange fart notes work, the face that Logan pulled after he'd given it was the one that ended up making it into the finished movie. Now you'll never look at that scene the same way again. Number 2, Jake Lloyd is doing better and remains a big Star Wars fan. Following his performance as a young Anakin Skywalker in Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, child actor Jake Lloyd was also sadly criticized and targeted by both audiences and critics. Contrary to popular belief though, said reactions weren't the reason Lloyd largely disappeared from the screen in the years after that Star Wars debut, and they also didn't contribute to the star's eventual struggles with mental illness. According to Lloyd's mother, Lisa, Jake was always going to eventually become schizophrenic, due to a history of schizophrenia on his biological father's side of the family. Lloyd was ultimately diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. His psychiatrist also felt that Lloyd was always going to deal with this mental illness. Along with this, Lisa noted how she protected him from much of the Star Wars negativity, outside of a bit of bullying at school, and his reasons for walking away from acting were more to do with family. The family were going through a divorce, and Lisa explained that things were unsettled and kind of rough, and Jake didn't seem to be having a lot of fun auditioning anymore. And a lot of this can be found in a Scripps news article that if you've not read already is definitely worth a read. You'll be pleased to hear that things are now looking up for the actor though. After a 10-month stint in prison following a high-speed car chase in 2015, the sudden death of his sister in 2018, suffering what his mother described as a full-blown psychotic break in 2023, and recently finishing an 18-month stay at an inpatient mental health facility in Southern California. As revealed in a follow-up article from Clayton Sandell, Lloyd is living at a new rehabilitation center and receiving treatment there, and is said to still be a huge fan of Star Wars, playing the video games, watching the Ahsoka series, and getting excited about the idea of spending May the 4th with his mum. Jake also still has fond memories of his interactions with fans, and mentioned this year that the experience I've had with fans is immediately therapeutic. Right now, it's still therapeutic. It's helpful for people and healthy. It isn't something I'd shy away from. Just hearing that Lloyd is in a better place after a rough time there brings warm feelings to our hearts. So keep sending him all the love, folks. And number 1, George Lucas meets Grogu. In the years since selling Lucasfilm to the House of Mouse, George Lucas hasn't really been massively involved in the creation of this new era of Star Wars stories. However, the creators behind the new wave of tales set in this galaxy far, far away are still more than happy to roll out the red carpet for the bloke who started it all should he feel like dropping by to visit a set. And it was during one of said occasional set visits when perhaps the most heartwarming interaction you didn't know you needed to see occurred. As shown in the Disney Gallery Star Wars The Mandalorian Making of Season 2 documentary, easy for me to say, Lucas was given the chance to hold arguably the most popular addition to the franchise since Disney purchased it. And it is every bit as wholesome as you'd expect watching the person described as the child's great-great-grandfather rock the Grogu animatronic, whilst an overjoyed Jon Favreau snapped photos on his phone. Just look at their faces. Try not to crack a massive smile at the Star Wars equivalent of watching a loving grandparent pick up their grandkid for the very first time. You know, if that grandkid was green, could make animals float, and ate frog eggs. Yeah.